Hola, me llamo Señora Kohler. Bienvenidos a mi clase. Today I'm going to talk to you about how I structure my classes and what my classes look like. And I'm going to give you an example. So first, I present key structures to the students. They write the structures in Spanish and in English. For example, they would write me llamo, my name is, ¿cómo te llamas? What's your name? Dice hola, say hello. Es hombre, that's a man. Es mujer, that's a woman. And from there, we might have a few other key structures, and we're going to use these key structures in a story. I'm going to just give you one line as an example. So un día is one day, quién is who. We wouldn't necessarily go over those, but they'd be on the slide. That way they can reference them at any time. I have lots of pictures, and I also use gestures to help continuing with comprehension. So for example, un día, una mujer nada en la piscina. And then I would ask a question, ¿quién nada en la piscina? My question words are always posted on the board. And they would answer, una mujer. If we were in person, I would have asked you if you took a language in middle school or high school for 2 years or more, and I would have you stand up. If teachers focused on grammar and conjugation, I would have you stay standing. And if you can use the language well today, stay standing. And at this point, most people end up sitting down because they can't use the language very well, even after all those years of learning the language. And that's why I teach through TPRS and through stories. Students will learn how to read, write, speak, and understand Spanish through the use of short stories, novels, short films, and movies. And this type of learning is called TPRS, Teaching Proficiency Through Storytelling, or CI for Comprehensible Input. This is how my class functions. First, I start with the traditional date, weather, time, question, and response about each student, and we have a song of the week. During my lesson, I introduce new vocabulary, read through the story, ask questions. We have reading activities, choral response translation activities. We act out the story, we create storyboards, we draw the story, we might finish the story or even recreate the story alone or with a partner. And then at the end, I'll close with a comprehension check to see how much the students understood. And our goal each day is for every student to understand 80% of what's going on in class. We incorporate different types of technology in the classroom. I use Schoology, Quizlet for the vocabulary, Duolingo, and Word Reference is what we use for our dictionary. The short stories that I use come from Cuentos Fantásticos by Amy Bachman Catania. And then from there, we move on to novels. And in level 2, our novels are La Llorona, The Crying Woman, which is about a story that's told to children in Mexico, and Esperanza, which is a true story about immigration. Students are graded on reading comprehension, which is 35% of their grade, writing samples, which is graded on content, and that is 15% of their grade, listening comprehension, 35% of their grade, speaking activities and participation, 10% of their grade, and then their completion of the Duolingo homework, Quizlet sets, and other things, which is 5% of their grade. I have a quote that I wanted to share with you. Learning a language is not a passive activity. When acquiring a second language, we learn to listen first. We learn to read what we listen to. We learn to write what we read and listened to. And then finally, the hardest skill, we learn to speak because we listened, read, and then wrote it. I always encourage students to review Quizlet and the Google Sites every day, especially if they had trouble and felt like we were going too fast on the stories. I'm always available before school, after school. They can come down during their flex period, and there's also free peer tutoring through guidance and an abundance of online tools and many useful apps. You can help your child by reviewing the vocabulary with them, reminding them to go on Quizlet to review the vocabulary, helping them or reminding them to reread the stories on the Google Sites and on the Google Slides, reviewing their class notes and handouts, reminding them of the weekly homework, which is Duolingo and Quizlet, and checking Infinite Canvas and Schoology to check on their grade and see if they have any missing assignments. You can get in touch with me 2 ways. The first is through my tpsd.org email address, which comes right to my computer. And if it's something that needs a more immediate response, you can use my tbsd.info account, and that will go straight to my phone, and I can get back to students quicker if it's something that I need to get to after school or on the weekends. This is my Google site. Everything is housed on my Google site. There are lots of websites, links, information, the assignments, and the syllabus is all on my Google site. which you can get to by clicking on the Google site picture on the Google slide. Or if you would like access to your child's Schoology, there's also a link there. So I can give you the code. That way you have access to their Schoology as well. That's everything. Muchas gracias. Encantada. Adios.